Let's welcome Dr. Anne and to make their submissions, then we'll wrap up this session.
Thank you very much. We will make a very brief presentation, and this is a book where it's under development. It's not yet ready, but it's on environmental management, and we're looking at the sustainability challenges in the petroleum industry. And this is a book that is supported by the Norwegian Ministry of Oil and also the Minister of Environment, I'm sorry, and the Directorate of Oil, the Petroleum industry in Norway. So this book, the purpose is to put attention to areas of improvements of today's practice in oil exploration and production systems. I will look at the life cycle of the oil industry or the field development. So it's just what we have heard already in most of the presentations already. So Arne, I think, or maybe I can say something about the book structure. It's the three parts. The first one is on the oil industry, a short introduction about sustainability challenges. And then part two, it's about the environmental aspects and potential impacts in the life cycle of an oil field. And the last part is on impact on the regulation, management systems and communication. So the first one is, as I said, the sustainability challenges. We present the methodology, the Plan, Do, Check, Act, and also the methods on identification of sustainability aspects and sustainability awareness. And we also have put a chapter on drilling, because that is so essential in the life of the oil field. And these are some of the models we present. We have the Plan, Do, Check, Act, we have the input-output models, we have the sustainability, triple bottom line, or the people, profit and planet, and also the methodology and activities, aspects and impacts. So in part two, Arne is the expert. He's working in the for Statoil, and is an engineering petroleum.
Okay, part two is more going through the activities, exploration, which is then seismic and exploration drilling. And as we discover oil, which has been a fantastic achievement by Tullow, because they have been very good, astonishing good finding oil. So then we go into a field planning and development stage, and then we go to the production drilling, and that differs a lot from the exploration drilling. So that's a different fish. And then we have production, and at the end or during those, at least the three last phases, the production drilling and production determination already starts. So this is the part two. So yeah, and activities are a bit hard to read, but we can say we have activities and they have aspects. It's just to define what we mean by aspects. So we have the activities, exploration, drilling, construction, production, and as we said in the statement, and what are the aspects of that? Okay, we have wastewater, we have emissions, noise, we have leaks and spills, and we have waste generation. So what are the impacts of this? And that will differ. Aspects are the same, roughly, wherever we are, and then the impacts will vary of the environment we operate. So wastewater will pollute, make pollution to water if there is water there, or we also have, from emissions, we have an increase in greenhouse gases on the road, and other impacts are just disturbance to the local community. That could be on parks or in habitated areas. We destroy land, or we can displace people from land, and there is a risk of pollution to the ground. With just a brief then on the planning of a field. It's just the initiations, and then you have the front-end study, and that goes in parallel with the environmental impact assessment and social impact assessment. And in the detailed plan, integrated part of the detailed plan are the mitigations, and then we start with the actual project. Just to put this on a map, this is an example. We have 3 fields, and on the fields where we have drilling activities and installation, we have exclusion zones. So that is around the neighborhood of the wells and the pipelines and the facilities. So that will take, that will require land, and that is then going to have an impact on either animals living there or people. And on a map, then it could look a bit like this, and if you superimpose this on the landscape, okay, this will then be more how it looks like, and it starts to get a bit more complicated. This is just a photo of the activity when we lay a pipeline. It's heavy machinery. It is a lot of activity and noise, dust, and we also need a road alongside the pipeline to bring in the equipment, and after a pipeline is laid, we need the road to inspect and service the pipeline. And here we have, I don't go through all this, but I just pass it on the presentation, which you will find on the web page. So we have the aspects of a certain activity. Here we have construction, and that has certain aspects. We create industrial waste, domestic waste, landscape modifications, and then it has certain environmental impacts and certain social impacts. So we just leave it like that. It's just the way it is structured, so that you get familiar with this thing that you have an aspect, and then the aspect has certain impacts. Here is a photo taken from a plane. One of the facilities, CPR processing facilities we have in Algeria. And what you will see here, it takes quite some space, and it is flaring is involved. You need water, you dispose of produced water, and so on. So this is roughly how it could look like. Maybe a little bit different for oil, but in principle it's about the same. And here as well we have aspects and impacts. I don't spend much time on that. Something which is a bit interesting, and it was mentioned yesterday, and as rightly commented, we don't have LSA, low specific activity scale during drilling. It will come, or it may come, on certain areas during production. That is scaled with traces of radioactive material, and that should be monitored. There are many ways to get rid of it. It's just the plan must be in place. Here we have a fantastic example on how wells have been abandoned and the site has been restored in Algeria. We don't want it like that. And then aspects and impacts again on termination and restoration, because that is a little bit like the construction, because now you go the reverse way. So I just do this very quick now because it's lunch, and we just present the principles. You see, we have the aspects, and identically environmental impacts and social impacts. Some are good, some are bad. And here is one I would like to remind you about, the plan, do, check, act. We're getting bored by this, but you see, when we go from plan to do, to check and so on, and this is not actually quite true, because what happens is that the plan is also checked, and the plan must be checked. A plan must have a risk register. You have to have the risks and impacts of the plan, and you have to set up different alternatives, and all should be risked. Because our industry is a risk sensitive industry. The impacts of something going wrong are so big. So the plan has to be verified. That is against regulations, if we use the right technology, if there are different ways to do it, and so on. So the plan is actually audited. And then we carry on the same way. On the do and the do things, during the performance of the work, we also monitor and check and improve. And let's just a quick one on that. And I think if you can, the lowing.
Yeah, it's just part of the part 3. We will include laws, regulation and standards and see how they can contribute to more sustainable achievements. And it's also on environmental or sustainability management principles, and we will introduce environmental management system, health, safety and environmental systems, and also risk assessment. And common for all these systems or principles, we will also include auditing principles and of course some guidance material and checklist. So yeah, these are from EMS and risk assessment, and this is just a model on how to do an impact assessment, and this was the same I showed yesterday, going from the aspect to understanding the impact on different elements of the nature. So, and these are types of audits we are introducing, and we have some checklist on this. So, and they are to be planned or used during the different stages in the life cycle. Communication is also included. We have some on cultural challenges and also on training and education, performance indicators, and how to benchmark, for example, by means of performance indicators. And also there's one chapter on planning mechanisms. So this is the last one. Just to conclude, we present the life cycle stages, and we do the impact. We present methodologies to do the plan, do, check and act, and also how to come up with the information about the footprints on the air, on the water, on the earth or on the soil. So thank you very much.